Today on Relax Mel, we're going to be talking about taking action. Why so many people seem to fail at even just getting out of the starting blocks. We're going to talk about that and a little bit more on episode number 20. Yeah, big 20. We're cruising right along. Episode 20. Yeah, it's awesome. It's cool. I'm tickled that I've made it this far. So we're gonna talk about that on episode 20 of Relaxed Mel. Hello and welcome to Relaxed Mel, a podcast that helps men change their relationship with themselves. I am your host, Brian, and I am a men's life and mindset coach who is here to help you understand that you don't have to suffer at your own expense. You can live your dream, and I encourage you to set, then pursue your goals. So join me as I change the mindset and attitudes of men so that they can be the leaders of their families and their destinies. Hey man, hey dads, hello sons. This is Brian with Relaxed Mel, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to this podcast. I am, if you hear a lot of background noise, it's because of where I'm at. We're having a cold front blow through, and we've got about 35 mile an hour winds right now. So it's a little windy, and it's actually whistling down the stovepipe and whistling through the eaves and under the door and everything at our house. So I'm out here in the Jeep today to do the recording. And so, you still may have some wind noise make it in. I'm hopefully that, during post-production, I can kind of clean a lot of that up. But, if not, that's what that noise is you're hearing in the background, that and the occasional pickup or car that drives by behind me. So, but anyhow, wanted to talk about one of the biggest obstacles everybody faces when they are wanting to make a change in their life. And that is whether you're wanting to start pursuing a deeper relationship with your son, deeper relationship with your spouse, or just even, just wanting to make a change as to who you are and what you're viewed as, just in yourself. One of the biggest things most people have a problem with is not making the plans. Now, making plans in the grand scheme of things is the easy part. The hard part is getting yourself out of the starting blocks, heading and starting down that path. And the way you do that is just by taking action. Brooke Castillo talks about you need to make massive action. And that's a great way to look at it, because the difference between just normal action and massive action is not really anything. I mean, she describes, though, massive action as a step towards your goal. And that is a big difference, because a lot of times we find ourselves taking action by finding ways to procrastinate. We're not doing anything. We're just going to find a way to keep us from doing what it is that we want to do. So why do we have such a problem making the step towards what we want to have, towards our goals? Well, there's three items that I'm going to talk about as to what holds you back. Now, when it comes to taking action, one of the biggest and most over-encompassing reasons as to why we don't take action is fear. You have to take an action, but to take that action, you're going to have to overcome some elements of fear. But that's where what trips a lot of people up. If you take fear, you take, the insecurities that you have and you focus in on those, you're never going to do it. That's what kept Relaxed Mel podcast from being launched, sooner than the 2.5 years of the website being around. It has been just, I've tried making podcasts before on the other websites that I had created, and a lot of them, I would either create a trailer and it would just sit there. Or I would start trying to do one, and I would get like 30, 40 episodes in, and it would peter out. And I didn't want to do that with this one. So I wanted to make sure I was really geared up and ready to start making extra episodic content for you each and every week. And short of, I think, one, maybe 2 weeks out of the time so far, I have done just that. I have made an episode for you each week, every week, sending it out for you, and making sure that you have a clean and insightful way to start changing how you view life and how you're raising your son. So fear is the biggest one. Is one of the largest blocks, because it's nothing outside of you. It's not that something outside is what you're afraid of. Fear is something that only happens to you. You're the only one who can feel that fear. You have these different random thoughts, whether accurate or inaccurate, true or untrue, doesn't matter. It's the fact that those thoughts create the fear in you, and that fear causes your action to be, I'm not ready to make that, take a step yet. And that that action ends up being the result of no podcast. If you want to take a podcast, then you have to you have to change the thoughts you're having that are creating that fear. So instead of me thinking of, I don't want to let these men down. I don't need to start a podcast just to leave them hanging, 15 episodes in. I want to make sure that I have the content available, that I don't have to put a whole lot of extra effort into making sure that I have content for you. And I mean, I've got 240 blog posts available. So if I ever run out of ideas, I can just start careening through my blog posts and start gleaning extra ideas. So I know when I got to a certain point, I was like, you know what? What's holding me back? I know what's holding me back. And that is just strictly the fear that I'm not going to do good with this podcast. And so I took it and I said, screw it, and threw the fear out the window and took a blind leap and just, all right, we're going to start out with this. And if I know that if I ever feel like I'm going in the wrong direction, well, that's okay. This is my podcast. This is my show. I can start singing and yodeling through my show notes if I absolutely want to. I can do what I want. There's no wrong way to podcast. There's a lot of people who tell you that there's a right way and a wrong way, but in all reality, I know that there's no wrong way to make a podcast. So when it comes to you and what you're wanting to do, why is it that you're not doing that goal? What steps do you have to take? And a lot of us also have a problem of what happens if it works? And I know that sounds really weird. What happens if I become successful with whatever this endeavor is? People actually are afraid of success. I had that problem quite a few different times where all of a sudden I noticed that I was kind of catching a foothold and I was going up, and shortly after that, when I would drop my podcast, I'd drop my blog, I'd drop everything about it. And that was because I was having a fear of actually being successful. I was getting out of my comfort zone, and that was really wigging me out. And and there were several different parts of that I didn't, of who I was, that I thought I was going to lose. And it was quite the opposite. I was going to be accentuating those things I didn't want to lose. A lot of people also fear the fact that if they take a step and that step doesn't cause them to fall on their face, that it's going to change who they are. And guess what? You're right. It is going to change who you are. If you make a change or make an effort to change who you are, you make an effort to become somebody different, you're going to be somebody different. And that actually scares a lot of people. Yeah, they want to become successful, but to be able to become successful, to have a lot of money, to have the ability to set your own time, you can't be the person that you are right now, because that person who you are right now is living in the substandard area that you want to live in. Your standards are going to be increased, and you have to increase your standards. So if you want to be able to live in a $100,000 house, you got to be okay with changing how you look at yourself, change how you view money, and all that stuff's going to change you. And because you change, people are also afraid they're going to lose who their friends are. Their friends are going to judge them. And guess what? Yeah, again, they're going to, but their fear is that they're going to not have any more friends. I lose these friends, I'm not going to have any more. And that's a very scarcity-centric mindset to have, because there's, 7 billion people in the world. So you lose a friend, you can find 2 more to take their place. You can find ways. You will have more people. The more you get out and the more success you have, you're going to have to get out and you're going to be networking with more people. The more people you network, the more chances you have to actually making more friends. But people don't see that. Again, they would rather step over a dollar just to pick up a dime. They don't understand that friends are very time specific. Yeah, you can still be a really, really good acquaintance and even a friend with your old friends, but even your best friend may not be your best friend later on down the road. Good example is your high school best friend. My high school best friend, Jake McDowell, he was a great guy, but eventually as time progressed, we didn't communicate. Of course, this was before I graduated from high school. This was before the internet was all popular and everybody had even AOL. And so once we connected once again, once everybody started getting internet, and I had an AOL account and all that, and we talked base for a little while, but again, we kind of drifted apart. We lost a lot of the details that bound us together. For us, it was going through school together. We were seeing each other every day, and we made each other laugh. And, Jake had a barn that we'd go and go spend the night in. And it was, there was a lot of the circumstances that you're in is what makes your friends. So as you change your circumstances, your friends will change. Doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Doesn't mean they're a bad person, and if they do say, well, you're not the person that you were when I knew you, take that as a compliment, because that means you have grown, you have developed and become a better person. Another reason that people actually fear taking actions is is because they procrastinate. And procrastination is just another subset and another type of fear-based emotion. Is an action that is, an action that is made, if I could talk. Procrastination is an action made from fear. A lot of times the fear is that they don't know what other people are going to think. And so they come up with reasons as they need to know more. They need to know more. They don't think they know enough. They're afraid they don't know enough. Afraid they're not going to be seen as an expert. And so that's why the people who become professional conference goers and professional students is because they are trying to get all the information they need, but yet they never become successful at that topic they want to study, because they're too busy learning. They're not taking any of the information they've learned and applying it. And because of that, they also feel oftentimes they have the imposter syndrome comes in, and you're not good enough yet. And so they want to procrastinate. They want to hold off. I haven't got the right, logo set up yet. Well, they focus in on all the little insequential details, so they feel like they're making steps. So yeah, they may get a logo. They may spend 6 months getting the copy for their about page down just right. They spend all the time they can doing everything but taking the actual path that they need to take. It's kind of like when you're playing an RPG. You may take all these little side quests and become a level 50 before you ever hit the first boss. It's that particular thought of, I'll get so big and so powerful that whenever I come to my first obstacle on the actual quest that I have to take, that I'll just squash them and I'll become even stronger. Well, not really. You become stronger because is actually because you've taken the steps to cover those obstacles, get over those obstacles. Every time you come across an obstacle, that obstacle is put in your way so that you learn something and you become better at it. So the more you dodge the main obstacle and doing other things other than the actual action you need to take, you end up not making yourself strong in the area that you really need to be. And the last reason why people procrastinate is they're afraid of what other people are going to think of them. And again, that's imposter syndrome. Oh, they're going to see me as a flake, or they're going to see me as a fake, not a flake. And that's worrying about what other people think, those other people's opinions. You can't control what another person thinks of you. You can know everything inside out, upside down, frontwards and backwards, and every other way possible. Yet still, when it boils down to everything, somebody's not going to like you. There's that, the saying, you can be the sweetest peach in all of the world, and you're still going to find somebody that doesn't like peaches. It doesn't matter, is what I mean, is somebody may not like you. That's okay. That just means that person is not your customer or not your audience member. But you're going to find people who are your audience member. They're going to like what you have to say, and they're going to like what you have to provide for them. And those are the ones you want to talk to. The others that don't like you, okay, well, that's their loss. Is really the mindset you have to have. Who cares if they don't like me? It's not my problem. That's their problem. They're the ones who don't want to like me. They're the ones who don't want to listen to the message I have to share. Yet my message is what will help them with that problem that they're having. The third and final reason why people don't take the action they need to take to be able to improve and find success in their life is just because they don't want to get uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable means you might have to get messy and dirty, and you might end up scraping a knee or busting an elbow. You might even get a bump on the head. There's things that are required of you, and to do the uncomfortable means that you're going to actually have to get dirty. It means that you're going to have to take the time out of your day to, go clean a sewer or something. You're going to have to do something that you really don't care to do. That's part of life, but you realize that when you're going through and doing whatever that uncomfortable obstacle is, that on the other side, you get that reward for beating that boss battle. So to keep it with the video game analogies. So as you're fighting the boss, you learn stuff about it. You may realize that, hey, you've got this really cool move that just does a number on them. Well, that really cool move in real life may be that you realize that you don't need to worry about what other people think. It may be that you need to realize, hey, I'm going to screw this up the first 10 times, but I can't get to that 11th time and get it right unless I go through those first 10 first. So you've got to figure out that and look at and pay attention and take the action. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from your failures. Failures, as I've said multiple times, are good. Not Einstein, but Edison, famously was said to have, when he was asked how it felt to fail 9,999 times, And he's like, or how to feel to fail so many times to finally make a light bulb. I forget exactly how it's said. I'm slaughtering it completely, but still you're good. You'll get the gist. He said that I found 999,000 different ways, or 9,999 different ways to not make a light bulb. I found all these other ways to not make a light bulb. And it's kind of like doing an elimination round. You've got to kind of do just through trial and error, eliminate what you find to not work until you stumble across the one that works. And you learn the lessons along the way. You learn that, hey, people don't like this particular, aspect, but if I tweak it just a little bit, all of a sudden, hey, the crowds come running. Don't know what it is, why it is. They want this particular option, but they like that option. And so who knew? So if you don't, or if you do, let's say it this way, how do you go about trying to take action? Now, what if you've decided, all right, you're right. I've sat here for a year and a half, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for success to happen, and I haven't done, and action and fortune, fame and fortune hasn't come my way. How do I take action to achieve what I want? Well, there's several ways you can do that. And we talked about it on the blog multiple times, talked about it on here a couple times on the podcast. And the answer actually just is make out a list and then point to something. Is essentially that easy. And you're like, oh, no, I can't do that yet. Well, why not? Because I have to get this one done. Well, do that. You can point, you know some of the steps you have to take. You may not know every twist, curve, and bend and rock that is laying in your way. And you're going to have the occasional tree fall across the path, or boulder or troll that is standing in the way. You may have to, do the three billy goats gruff and find a way to get across the bridge if the troll's not letting you cross. But to be able to find that out, you have to take an action. And once you take that first step, the second step pretty much is a little easier to take. And eventually, before you know it, you look behind and you're a mile, 2 miles down the road. But you can't take a step, or you can't find success until you take a step towards success. You have to, and those steps will show you that you can't worry about what other people think when it comes to money. What you're thinking of money and what other people think of money are two separate things. If they want to be as successful as you are, they will have to be the ones who change their mindset about money. It's not anything that you can teach them yourself. So, but anyhow, we're going to make this one a little bit of a shorter episode. And I want to thank you very much for taking the time to listen. If you like this podcast, please, I would really appreciate it if you were to like it in your favorite podcast app. If you aren't sure how to subscribe to this through your podcast app, and maybe you're brand new to listening to podcasts, that's fine. You can go to relaxmail.com/subscribe, and there will be a list of different ways that you can actually, different apps that you can actually listen to, from Apple Podcasts to Android, listening on an Android device, to iHeartRadio, to Stitcher, to Spotify. All those ways I've got listed, and then more. If you happen to listen through Castro or Pocket Cast or Overcast or any of the other apps out there, I have a way for you to be able to subscribe to the podcast through that just by doing a simple one-click method. It's a great way to do it, and it's easy for you. Also, if you are interested in trying to figure out how to actually, maybe you're still stuck and you're not even sure what steps you need to take. Well, I can help you out. I have a men's group called the Conclave of Men. This is a group of men who get together and we help each other out every Tuesday night at 7:00. If you would be interested in joining that group, you can go to relaxmail.com the conclave with a dash between the word the and conclave, or just go to relaxedmale.com, and up at the top, in the menu bar, you will see the conclave of men, and you'll be able to click that and be able to go in and join up with our group. Right now, really inexpensive. As more people join, we'll be upping the price. So best time to get in is right now. And we'd love to have you join us as we as we go through and do the live life with each other. Because you can, there's an element, and I'm going to be talking about masterminds and the benefits of them here probably the next week or two. But masterminds and the helping is a philosophy and a means of every man helping everybody else in the group, because everybody is invested in making sure that you actually succeed. And that's what we're wanting to do. We're nowhere near as good until we make sure our men that are in our group actually succeed and achieve the results and the success that they're actually wanting. So if you're interested, please swing by relaxedmale.com and just go to the Conclave of Men link, and got all the information that you would need there. All right. So again, I thank you very much for listening. You take care. You have yourself a great week, and take that first step, dadgummit. You will be further down the road than over half the people who even dream. All right. So see you next week. Bye.